You are watching Access LaPorte County Channel 97. Coming up next is the July 9th meeting for the Long Beach Budget and Finance Committee. You can find more information for this meeting by visiting www.accesslaportecounty.org.
Good morning. This is our meeting to have budget discussions for our 2027 budget with our department heads. And so we distributed, not as timely as I would have hoped or liked, but that's all right. Got the budgets well, I'm just saying you didn't have a lot of time to do them, but we're meeting to do kind of a high level review of our prelim numbers. So the budgets don't need to be in their final state or stage, but this is our first meeting to go over them. So water is up first.
All right. Health insurance, we're going to do a 4% increase on. Workman's comp insurance, a 4% increase. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Tristan and I had talked, and we're probably gonna do the budget at a 10 to 12. But we will do those based on, everybody, every department. And then Mark usually hears back in the fall from them later in the year on what they think the actual increase will be. So, but thanks for doing that.
Purchase water, we're thinking of 5%, because we also don't know if Michigan City is going to up their rates. So we won't really know that till next year.
So have they still done nothing yet in the last
Nothing
8
yet.
months?
Nope, nothing yet.
Trista, what would,
It takes a long time though, because they gotta go through the state and all that.
No, yeah, I know.
But as far as we know, they're
Okay.
supposed to, but we're not sure.
will we increase that with coming off of our rate study? And we would increase that without the increase from Michigan City? Because I feel like we got it would increase by the growth percentage, but
I'm sorry, what are you asking?
well, would we really increase that another 5% when we don't know what Michigan City's putting through yet, coming off of our rate study? Because we already got we're already charging what
We've
Right.
yeah, so
Well, ultimately we'll follow the rate study and
Okay.
just keep an eye on Michigan City and be able to react when that actually happens.
okay. Okay.
purchased power, we 5%. Yeah, we don't really know.
I think what I'll do is take the bills and put a spreadsheet together and see, the last 6 months, and we'll try to base it on what increases did come through. I think ours had only been about 4 to 6%. I mean, the bills are similar to what they usually are. So, but that's not to say they won't do another increase this year. I don't know.
Yeah, because we have roughly like 20.
But I can work on that.
Before we follow the budget. Liability, fire, and auto, did a 4%. Just throwing that in there. Oh. And then actually I skipped one, but bank fees we put up to $1,600 instead of $1,500. We're halfway through the year and we got like $500 some left for that one.
So don't we need to maybe shoot that up to 3 if you have
Probably.
14 already?
Yeah.
Have the fees increased? 24 to 25 was a huge jump.
They shouldn't. I guess I need to look what goes into the water bank fees. Is that when you have returns and things? I think that's what it's from, but is that a wash because it's then charged to the resident?
Oh, so that's
Right.
newer, right?
Hmm.
Okay.
But that's pretty steady though. I'll look. I'm gonna make notes on what I need to look at. What else is going into this line? Okay,
And Meg, you and Diane could talk and decide if for the ease of watching, and evaluating, if you want just a single bank fee line or a bank fee line for the town's expense, the monthly fee that they charge you and the scanning versus a, dishonored check, bounce check type fee that maybe you have to pay, but then can get back off from the customer's bill or something like that. If you wanted to break those customer related fees out, you certainly could. It's just a matter of how you want to track and be able to look back at the history of it.
okay. So we said to increase that to 3,000, that line, right? Okay, thanks.
And then the computer software maintenance, we want to bump up. We have it at 17,000. And that's so we can update our computers and laptops, our tablets and that on budget also.
Austin, did that include, Diane, you put your computer in there for next year? That's part of it. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yep, good.
Next one's meter maintenance. We want to bring that from 25 up to 30, and that's because we're replacing like whole meters now instead of just like the electronics on them because they're way outdated. So everything we do is going to be kind of doubled almost.
Remind me, Austin, is that something that the homeowner then pays back to water, or no, that's strictly just water expense? Okay.
In Austin, there's no way to anticipate it, right? It's just as they go,
Yeah.
you've got to replace
Every year
them.
they jump up a little more. But right now, like if we're buying the electronics for them, they're, let's say like $200 and we got to replace the whole meter because they're 20 years old. That's what keeps the accuracy. Those are like 500 some bucks for the whole thing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
You can't anticipate when a meter. Sorry, you can't anticipate when a meter will be replaced because I know years ago, like I realized my fee was the same every month.
that's what,
Is that what
changing.
triggers you? So
Yep.
you don't know, like, say like, oh, so-and-so has an old meter.
We're doing some capital stuff we'll talk about in a minute. That's going to cover a lot of that, but that's
that's what
we're trying to
triggers
get
it.
ahead of all that.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it for that. And then I would like to make a budget item for like a restoration budget for when we go out and mess up somebody's yard for putting in a service line or something like that so we can replace it. And of just maybe $5,000. I don't even know if we'll make that, but just give us a good start.
Where do you pay for that now?
We don't do a whole lot of restoration right now.
Uh,
Yeah. Yeah, out of miscellaneous, yeah.
Makes sense.
And then I also a new line item also for like contract services. So we have to have backflows, have a company come in and test them every year and then do any work that needs to be done. And we have one here, 2 in the fire station, 1 at the community center, 1 at the booster station. And then we have all the interconnects have them, and those have to be tested annually.
What was the title of it you said?
Like contract services? I don't really know what to call it, but something like that. And
Outside vendors.
yeah,
Is that new testing you've never done before, or you just randomly paid for it from wherever you could find a spot?
It's kind of yes and no.
Okay,
It needs to be a yearly thing.
yeah,
It's supposed to be, yeah. Same thing we require all the residents to do with irrigation systems.
okay.
So
Any idea how much? Did I miss?
I
what-
don't. I did call. I have it set up for them to come in, so we have an idea. I tried to get a quote, and they don't. But she was very helpful on the phone. It was kind of just like, well, we'll have to see what it is when they get out there and how long it takes them, because it's not like it's at the same time every time you do something. Like some of them are in the pits, some of them are in the building, which is easy.
Oh, I see.
So
Will you be doing that by chance in the next month or month and a half?
I also asked her when they could come out, and she said she would just call me when they're about to come out.
Oh,
So
that's
I
convenient.
tried to get a week, a month. It's gonna get nothing out of them. But they're like the only people that I could find to do it that work on big ones. Not because it's a special, kind of a special thing. So
Hmm. Maybe another phone call to talk to someone different would be.
I've talked to 3 people. Yeah,
And it's all been,
yeah.
oh my goodness.
Kind of bad. But it's the only people I can find right now. So
Okay.
to work on the big stuff.
Well, Meg, we can always include a high number for advertisement now, and then if by chance they are able to get it done before comes time to advertise or time to vote, you can adjust down.
And if repairs come out of there, like if they have to replace one of our big backflows, like it's big money to have done. Don't really know how much, but
You know,
I'd
if
say
you guys
like
have had
10
to,
grand at least.
have you had to do that? Do you
No,
know
we
the
haven't
last
yet.
time? No.
We have
so
never
this would
replaced
just be
them
a
yet.
maintenance
Mhm.
and anticipating
Yep.
to try to prevent something like that from happening.
Yeah,
think
I
we
know
did-
there's
we-
one that needs repaired right now. Like it passed, but it was right on the line. And it's probably just from buildup for being in the ground for 20 some years. So they're probably gonna tell me we need to replace that.
I want to say, Austin, we did some repairs on the one in the garage
did.
here.
Yeah, we
That was
did.
a couple grand just for basic repairs. So it wasn't even a replacement.
Mhm.
So
Well, I guess my only thought is does this more qualify as capital? Should this be operational?
It's got, well, yeah, I don't know how you want to look at it. Every year it's got to be at least tested.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
Okay.
repairs will be every year necessarily, but I don't know if that should cover,
Like if the repairs
to have
would
a
be
capital for the repair at least. I'm at,
We can put it in the operational budget or once you get some pricing, I guess. we could-
If it's a repair, it's expense.
Right, but so if it's the regular maintenance when they come out, but if they actually have to.
yeah, with those backflows, they either work or they don't. Like it's you can't replace the whole unit.
Not really a repair, it's a
It's a replacement.
capital
But-
improvement,
yeah.
but yeah.
But don't you have the repair?
Like if it's gonna be a couple thousand, maybe we just do the capital account, Just a
And-
thought, I don't know.
I agree with Austin though, with having a contractual services in his budget.
Oh, yeah, I'm fine to
that-
do that. I
for
just
sure.
mean when we
the
actually, it's like a
testing
heat
part,
pump
yeah.
at the community center.
Yeah.
10,000, maybe it's
Mhm.
not, maybe we're not trying to pay for it from this
Regular
contract
budget.
services line.
Yeah.
That's all.
But wouldn't we have an amount if it was tested annually? Don't you have an amount from?
Well, no, yeah, then I don't, they just said it depends on the job. They couldn't give me like an idea until the guy gets out here and starts to. And I can't,
But didn't we pay last year? That's what I'm saying.
No,
Haven't
we-
paid in the past.
2
that you
years
could-
ago, we used Poston and Sons, and they don't want to work on the big stuff, the bigger stuff. Like they don't mind doing like an irrigation.
Yeah.
Right, then you'd know what you
Yeah.
paid
Yeah.
them at least 2 years ago. You get what I mean?
But the other thing, when we did when Poston was out, they did R3, and then the fire station was new, so those were already done. And then I believe
Not
Mark
much
Hayden
nowadays.
that got replaced in here, so we still don't have
Yeah.
all of them. Yeah, an idea of the smaller ones, I guess. Yeah.
I'll look that up.
I was gonna see if I can log in. What was the name of the company last two?
Poston and Sons.
Poston.
Mhm.
I'll try to look it up while you're still talking and see.
Another capital is we want to continue our valve project on Oriole Trail. Probably like another 35 grand would work in there for next year. Give us another 3 valves and then Oriole Trail should be done.
Austin, on your current capital for next year, 2027, we've got 250,000 for painting the water tower.
Yeah, just
Do we plan on doing that, or are we going to kick that out another year?
spring of next year, Dixon Engineers coming in and they're gonna do the whole inspection of the inside, outside, see if we need epoxy the inside, paint.
Okay.
So I'd like to keep that going because if they tell us we need to paint, then we could have it done.
The cost for Dixon coming in, you have that figured in somewhere in your budget for next year? No, you do not.
Well, yeah, I guess it comes out of the water tower. We pay for the engineering through that. There is a
Okay.
budget for water.
Yeah, because for the next 5 years, Meg, that's the only thing I'm showing is the water tower painting, and then we want to add in the valves.
Yep.
And
Well, the
anything
valves
else.
are on there currently at 100. I think you guys were going to spend the
Yeah.
30, was it?
Like 33 or 32.
33.
yeah.
So, I think we can just spread on the capital plan. We'll just.
Okay.
And then if you end up needing more, then we'll reassess.
Okay.
But it's really already on here for the 100 for this year. Um,
And then for the last thing I have for capital is the booster station panel. The electronics in it are out of date, and they don't make parts for them really anymore. So we need to last time they came and repaired it, they did find some parts, but they told us we need to update the panel. And he was supposed to call me back today or yesterday with a rough idea what it would cost. They've been working on it for like over 7 months. Try to get us this quote, but there's a lot that goes into it. And there's one guy that works on it and does repairs. So we're waiting on that. And I have no idea what that would cost. I think it'll be expensive, but maybe like 50 grand or something. But we also have a booster station budget of 30,000. So part of that can be used for that too.
So you think if we threw 50,000 for that control panel would be plenty?
I'm hoping so. It's never been done. One of those
Put it on
another
the
thing. It's
capital
never been
plan.
done. So I have no idea. That's why I've been on him, but he hasn't got a hold of me yet. So
Once maybe you get the number from them, just update us and we can always adjust it.
and then we also want to do a full town meter change out for the ones we haven't replaced in the last 2 years. And I also have Neptune working on that to get us a list from oldest to newest, what would work. Because those meters are good for like 15 years for accuracy. And we're at like 20 plus. So those need changed out. And it's expense up front, but we're going to make the money in the back. That's our register. So
How many years do you think it'll take to do that? 2 years or
we could break it into 2 years, 3 years.
do you have the cost breakdown per year that you're wanting?
He's doing that for me too, because getting me pricing he's taking the list, it says what all the sizes are, then you can take that, get us both pricing, stuff like that. I'm also talked to Meg yesterday. They're gonna come in and do a presentation for it too. I'm just waiting for dates to see what they have available.
And I'd assume since we're doing bulk purchasing on that, we're going to get a better price on those as well. So good.
And so
You-
Austin, sorry, Mark, do you guys have a running list in the system of the age of all the meters?
Unless we went through every account individually, we could, but that's what they're doing. They're doing that for us.
How are they're going to come out and look at each one?
They have all our data anyway. Like they can log in to our Neptune and
Okay.
pull some lists, put in an Excel file, and then they have a guy that does it for towns. So
Okay.
they're doing that for us.
Okay. Is it anything we could do ourselves going forward? Like
Yeah. Once we do a meter change out, it'd be pretty easy to keep
Okay.
everything and the new meters have a 20-year like accuracy.
hmm
And right now, the ones we have in now are like 10 to 15. Like
So our typical policy in the past was replace them with, right? So I guess, are you able to ask them? I'm sure I already know what they're going to tell you, but what would our loss be? So on a bad
they can have
meter,
a-
how off would our reading be for a particular home, for example?
they're supposed to give us that also.
Because this, again, is similar to community center where
Mhm.
the heat pumps are still working. Do we proactively do this and what's it going to cost us versus save us as opposed, and I'm not opposed to it. I'm just thinking out loud. Same with community center. Do we replace these pumps before they break or do we use them till they break?
Right. For us, I think,
And I think that presentation will help as
Yeah.
well.
yeah, he'll cover a lot of that. But like when me and Cody go and pull meters and change them in people's homes, they're full of buildup and they're mechanical meters. The ones we have currently. So you can see in there, it's like a moving part. So
Yeah.
and with having residents leave for half the year, a lot of them, they just sit and that's when minerals build up and then they come in and then it's a little less, it's a little less. The new ones are all done like electronically. They don't have any moving parts. They got like a pitot tube in there and it sends a signal.
It's the way
They're way
to
more
go.
accurate and
Yeah.
they don't build up. So
Okay.
Austin, do you know if the manufacturer ages the meters by serial number? I mean.
yes, they do. They do.
Just. keep
Yep.
it running?
That's another way he's going to do that for us.
Okay.
So,
And what, actually, you guys replaced our meter at home
Mhm.
years ago. And, what are you paying for a meter? Just one meter?
they're like a 1 inch is like $530, I think. And then there's 3/4 and 5/8, but even a 5/8 is like I think it's 300 something.
Yeah.
I don't know. They change a little bit every year, but yeah.
And across the whole town, there's probably 500 or 600 meters, maybe more.
Oh, there's 1,139.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a ton.
Picking up houses, you know.
Yeah, well, I mean, we have 1,139 services, and then if you take out like here, the community center,
Yeah.
fire station, yeah, they're all just service lines. Yep. That's a huge thing I think for us. We really need to do.
Can we charge people for that?
No.
No?
Mm.
I mean, could we?
No. Other towns charge people for meters, but they don't have like our base fee covers the cost of that also, like in a sense. 'Cause we talked to Chad about that, the guy who does our audits. So like our base fee
Kind of have to do it one way or the other.
one way or the other.
Yeah.
And then it's a pain too, because then if like you called and you're like, well, I don't want to pay this fee for the 1 inch, I want a 5/8. Well, then you're losing that. You're taking that out, put another one in because it saves them a couple bucks, or this is better across the board for everybody, I think. And we're a little more than what base fee would. So there, the other towns.
Very good.
I did find a little post and information quickly if we want it.
Sure.
There's an invoice from May of 24, replace backflow preventer is the description. It was $1,888.
That was written here.
Yeah, that's the town hall garage.
Mhm.
And then in April of 25, it says LBCC building improvement as a description, 1,375.
That was some plumbing work that was done at the community center.
There's another one in between community room 12 and a drinking fountain, which I don't think relates to what we were talking about.
Mhm.
And then the other largest expenses back in 23 for 2,000 just says LBCC. March of 23 for 2021.
That wouldn't be for what we're discussing.
So, yeah.
No,
Though we haven't done it before, or at least not in a
Yeah.
very long time.
There's, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Thanks,
all-
Austin.
that's all I got.
Nice job.
yeah, nice job, Austin.
Oh, and there's
And
One more
Diane,
thing.
Cody.
for the meters, we already have the software through Neptune 360, and we want to get an AMI tower, which would be put on our water tower, and then it reads all the meters instead of us wasting like the 3.5 hours driving around to do it. It's real time. So like these residents that we have every year too that leave and then their house floods and breaks, instead of waiting a month to catch it, where we get a high read, then we call them. It's a whole thing. That system will send us emails letting us know that there's like been no activity and now it's moving 10 gallons a minute or whatever. So we'll be able to catch a lot of water loss too and help people out. I mean, it's a big thing to help the residents out.
What's the cost of that?
The tower is roughly 50 grand. I do know that.
I'm sorry, 50?
Yeah.
And so you're proposing to do that when?
That's also in the presentation he's gonna bring. They're doing a bunch of legwork for us to see if it would read good. They have like a station thing they can do, prop study and stuff, so
So what year would you like to build that into capital then?
whenever we do the meter change outs, next year, following year. Every year it's gonna get more expensive.
Sure.
So this would bring
Might
us
be a
all
dumb
up to date.
question, but that tower would only read the new meters, right?
No,
No.
reads old too. So like if we got the tower, we could read now, but like the V4 meters, which are like the older ones, like those ones don't have as strong of a signal, so they might not reach it. So like if we got the tower, which would be the first step, then we could go see which ones don't read. And then we can still go manually or drive in the truck and pick them up, or we can replace those ones. But it'd save us way more time
Yeah.
we could read one day and replace all the meters that we need to and still have time to do other stuff in the day than read and then try to figure out, what we gotta do. Be just more efficient, better for everyone.
Yeah, we talked yesterday. Now, we did talk, since we have everybody, Austin and I, would we want to invite council to this presentation to vote on, to learn it about it? And then the Public Works Committee, I, Mark, myself, to hear anyone else that we want to invite since we're here. Any thoughts?
I don't know.
That's
I think
sufficient.
that's it, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Maybe just advertise
Budget
it
finance
as
wants to come.
a workshop for the council.
Workshop. Yeah, that's a
And
good
then,
idea.
just advertise it as a workshop, and then, the council inviting the other committees, and then related to water department capital improvements.
Mhm.
So, I mean, we have that new water department capital improvement fund, that capital line that's in there. And I think Austin's doing a great job of outlining some of the improvements he wants to make over the next couple of years.
Mhm.
And then it's open to the public as well. So anybody that wants to come and
So we
listen.
will get some dates.
Yeah, I just
And
talked to him
then-
again this morning. He's gonna look at his calendar, send me some dates of when they could do it.
Perfect.
And then
What's the name of the company?
that's Neptune.
Neptune?
Yep.
Okay, that's great.
Are there other companies that do this that we need to get bids from?
Every company, like so utility supply uses Neptune meters, and then like every big just or vendor has their own meter. So there's not like a
I see.
it is what it is. Yeah. It's just one. So
So we just make notes on that
Right.
for this project.
Just document that it's a specialty and run it past Chris real quick.
What'd you say?
Run it through Chris real quick just to verify about,
Yeah, it's kind of a, like single source
it
vendor.
is. Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
Like EJP they have their own meter brand. Everyone's got their own meter brand. There's like 4 or 5 but that's it. So everyone has their own one.
It's very similar to what we ran into with the valve replacements along Oriole Trail. There's only the one company in this area that has the equipment and the parts to do the work. So
Thanks, Austin.
Yep.
thank you.
Good job. Thanks, Diane and Cody.
And without water, there is no life.
Through Mike.
Larry's up.
Hi, Lair. I don't think I printed a copy of his.
Morning, Commissioner.
Can I go do that really quick?
Yep.
Hey, I guess-
I should have brought copies of that.
Meg's going to make copies.
I hate when I have to go that way at a council meeting. I have to go this long. All the way around, all the way around. All those steps.
I don't know about this. I'm usually doing the grilling.
I know, right? Would you feel better sitting over here?
No.
Be more comfortable? The grilling, I like that.
You guys are ahead of schedule.
Well, by the time, it will be right on time when you,
I could follow that up for you.
so while we're sitting here, we're recording, sorry. Anybody have any lures that have feathers on them? fishing, fly fishing.
I'm gonna find Kevin's phone. Because that's so. Thank you.
Thank you. Oops.
Hi, Larry.
Okay, it's been a year, so I forget how we do this.
We just
Just go
kind of
through line
discuss, yeah, we
Just
can
go-
go through
okay.
them. Yep. And then,
All right, so, I mean, basically, this is the same format that I do. I saw your stuff that I think, Tristan and Meg sent out. But I don't know if this, hopefully this is acceptable the way I've got it done here. And it's pretty much the same, an administrator, 34 hours a week. I split, that's honor, as you know, and I split that between the building department and the MS4 and the floodplain because she does stuff for me there. The building inspector, which we don't have right now, but we do have a couple of candidates that hopefully we'll see next week. And I'm pretty sure that's what we were paying Carter, somewhere around that amount.
He was slightly higher, but that was because he was here for a couple years and with raises, he was a little bit more than that.
I mean, I can change it. If you want me to change it, I'll change it. Then the next one is me. That's actually not me. It's a contract with the town through our company. The town attorney is, I just ask Chris every year how much time. I'm not sure how you guys, if you even charge, I think you charge the building department for legal time. Capital equipment, I put that in 2 years ago for computers for the, when we went to the iWorks. And I think we were able, I know we were able to, through some used police department computers, that's what we were using. And Mark, I'd have to ask you, I think that's still the case. That's what Carter was using. And that's, so that's probably not a real need. Engineering services, we have not had any in the last 3 years. Office supplies,
That's because you can review all the plans, right? You
right,
don't have to contract out.
that's right.
Yeah, okay.
Tristan, when that, if it gets to the seawall situation, which we probably won't have for at least a couple more years, that's when we'd like to have some outside consultant. It's basically Haas, who I believe is still the town's engineering firm, have them review those. Office supplies, I don't know what you guys spend. I'm sure you charge us something. Dues and subscriptions, that is for the Indiana Association of Floodplain Managers, the National Association of Floodplain Managers, as well as the MS4 partnership. The education certifications, this year I have to be recertified in MS4. I actually sent that bill to Meg already. I put $500 for each certification that I have to have. I don't have to do the two of them this year. I only have to do one this year. Software fees, I'd have to ask you guys. It was $7,500. I don't know if that's still the case. I think that was a contract for at least several years.
it is for the, as far as I know, but I can
Okay.
always make a call, but, or I can pull the contract. So I'll make a note to check that.
The cell phone for the building inspector, I'm assuming that's $50. International Code Council, that was $750. It went up. I just said mega invoice, which he paid. It was $809 this year. I would assume it's going to bump up to $850 or something next year. And what that is, it's a digital subscription to all the codes. So if anybody, either on the building commission, well, actually anybody in town, government can access it.
Larry, what do you, so The code meaning American Legal Publishing or something different?
No, the ICC is the International Code Council.
Okay.
And the International Code Council has a library of codes throughout the entire United States. So we have an option to either buy code books every year, which we used to buy 3 code books, and it got to be pretty expensive. It got to be up over a couple of $1,000s. So this is as a digital subscription. We have 1 seat, but we can share that seat.
Got it.
So by sharing those credentials for the software or the subscription, anybody has access to any of the codes.
And do you mostly utilize that?
Most of the time I use it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Carter did have access to it. I don't know because I can't see, and I don't think I'm sure I could find out how many times it was accessed.
Okay. Good.
But I found that it's a cheaper alternative than buying code books.
So I'm just super curious. It's not a comment at all on the cost or whether you need it, but what are we using, say, a California code for in Long Beach? How does it affect you?
No, we don't. The International Code Council is where I would, even for the state, I access what's called the IRC, which is the Indiana Residential Code. That residential code, the IRC Indiana Residential Code, currently is a 2022 edition, and that is based on the IRC, which is the International Residential Code, which Indiana uses the 2018 edition of the International IRC, so to say. So the option to access, we could buy the Indiana code books cheaper.
But then you don't have the.
But then you don't have the underlying code. And for the town of Long Beach, by reference, we adopt the Indiana or the IRC, which is Indiana, and we adopt, I don't remember all of them. It's the National Electric Code, the NFPA, which is
I
the
gotcha.
fire code.
Okay, yeah.
So we adopt all those codes by reference.
As yours. Uh-huh.
Right. And then the state of Indiana adopts those codes by reference in their code. Because of what I do for a living, I think it's just another way for everybody to step on it a little bit before the ultimate consumer gets it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that they don't say, "Oh, you can just get the Indiana code. You're either in or you're out."
Yeah.
Any questions on the building department?
You don't charge back your cell phone? So you just have building
No.
inspector?
I just use my my own cell phone. When I first started, the town gave me a cell phone. I don't know if any of you have ever carried 2 cell phones. I'm sure Mark does. Mark probably carries 4.
No, just
2 watches.
one, and I'll sell it to anybody that wants it.
It's a nightmare I didn't like it at all. So I just said, let's just publish my number. And it makes it easier. I drove myself nuts between 2 cell phones and a fire department pager. It was crazy.
And then you talked about the computers. You said 2 years old from the police department. So would that be ready for at some point upgrade or
Our computers that we use, I just use my own computer. I use my own laptop. So what we provided for the building inspector was Mark, I can't remember the exact circumstances. I think they were retiring or
HP laptop. It's in good condition. It's in my office ready for the building inspector. So
we don't need super fast computers. We don't need today's updated technology. I mean, I probably shouldn't tell the budget committee that, but so what the building inspector does with that computer, I think Mark gives him a card so that he can get access everywhere around town. And then you can do inspections right on there and upload pictures so that it's in our software. So it's a convenience. And I think Mark also gave Carter one of the retired police department printers that he can print the citations right in the car.
And then the contracted engineering services, I know you said you haven't used any in 3 years, but, and again, you know, what does it involve? But just sitting on building commission and seeing everything that's happening around our town, I hate to get rid of something like that just because
Right.
you never know when it's going to pop up. Things are just constantly
Yeah,
moving around here.
I don't know how municipal budgets work, so we don't use, I doubt we'll use much of that. But if somebody comes in with something that I'm not comfortable signing off on, then I would go to Haas. And in my tenure here, most of that happened during the 2019, 2020 years when we had the lake that rose. And we actually have in our ordinance, in our lakefront protection ordinance, and in our steep slope ordinance, we have written in there that the applicant, if we need to have engineering services over and above what I would consider common, or, hey, would you take a look at this? The resident has to pay for it, because some engineering services on a single project can be $15,000, $20,000 even on a residential.
Mhm.
So Larry, we've got it, you have it at 10. It's been 5 the last few years. Are you looking to increase it to
No,
10?
was it at 5 last year?
Yeah, I think we reduced it last year from 10 to 5. I would say we keep it at 5.
Okay.
That's what we've had it at. So at
Okay
least
with that?
there's at least
Okay.
something in there.
And then
I probably didn't realize you guys chopped it.
Yeah.
well, it's been that way it was 2023 and 24. Then it increased to 5 and 25 and 26.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
wasn't 10, and then the town attorney has been 20,000. It was, 23, it was 35, 24, it was 30, 25, 25,000, 26, 20,000. Are you okay if we bring that down a little bit, at least from that 32.5?
I think so. It's really a matter of,
I think we can keep it at 20 or 25 even. I don't know if we need the 32.
there are some things that are happening this year that there will be some additional attorney's fees. Some of that may be able to be charged to the resident. I don't know how that.
I wouldn't go any lower than 25 meg.
Yeah, that's what I think as well. I mean, we can do higher if you guys think we need it. It can be there.
1,000.
Last year, again, if we know we're anticipating some costs, 25, we ended at a little under 15,000 with a 25,000 budget.
That
Right.
was the final that we had last year.
Correct. And we're at about 5,000 for this year. So, but if you're anticipating some,
I
can
would
do it a little higher.
anticipate that there will be some, not significant, but
okay.
extraordinary. I shouldn't say extraordinary, out of the ordinary costs over the
Mm.
next 2 or 3 months, just because there's a couple of things going on and it's going to require some input from Chris, or actually help handle the whole thing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And then, I will pull out your contract because we're kind of over it.
Yeah, I think I think the
Last
last
year and
time
then
it was
this year.
signed was 3 years ago.
3 years ago. So,
I think there's a provision in there. I should have brought it, but I think there's a provision in there that says if it's not, it renews annually until it's redone, I guess, and it may be time to redo that.
okay. I honestly haven't really looked at it, so I'll see what we have
I
in the
haven't looked at it
office.
since the day I signed it.
Okay.
So what did we do for what was the one we were talking about? Oh, the town attorney. What did we decide?
25,
25.
leave it at 25.
And then I think we will plan to discuss salaries and any raises. Do we start with that at HR? Or
I think
through our budget discussions?
I think out of our last town council executive session, that we were going to hold another executive session with the town council and invite the HR committee to the executive session, and then have those discussions in the executive setting with the council and HR committee. With any input we receive from department heads will be taken into consideration during those discussions.
Not a problem for the HR committee to give recommendations, of course, but they're not as familiar with budget expense issues and constraints. And so
Yep.
they can make a recommendation, but ultimately council needs to have the heavier weight in that decision. If Larry's presentation is done and you don't have any more questions for him, I do have a couple things I need to comment on from the recent state statutes.
Do you want to run through the floodplain stuff?
Sure, let's do that first.
That's pretty straightforward. Same thing. I took 40 hours for an administrator, put it between the two. And I think that's going to be discussed with the HR people. The consultant, we had a higher number in there in the past because we used to pay that's an MS4 situation. And it's typically been Reggie Corthals, who I think most of you are familiar with. And Reggie is going off on her own. And so I think that the 30 hours annually is a very liberal amount of hours for her. She helps me with the annual report. She actually deals with the state people, which helps me out immensely. And her rate would be at $60 an hour. Public outreach is
So-
something that, I'm sorry.
So you have it at 1,800. Granted, we have not expensed much from this fund, although we are expensing more from it this year. So I've got in my folder for our next quarterly meeting, which I botched up our last one, but I've got about 4 expenses that will get approved, nothing large. But you had the consulting engineer at 10,000.
Right.
So
That was because we were
so you're
paying-
okay to-
I think we were paying $250 an hour for her time to an
okay,
engineering
so you're
firm.
okay that we change it to this 8,000
Yes.
number? Okay,
I think that would be fine.
Okay.
Actually, she's sending me a bill for this year's time,
okay.
which will be in that probably $1,600 range this year.
Okay. Yeah, if we can just somehow get that to me where I know that it's for
Her bill?
her. Yes,
Okay.
okay.
The
Whether
next
you,
thing-
if you pay it, for example, or however that works, and I
I
reimburse.
could do that. I told her
The-
that
the
I would
town's fine to
prefer
pay
that
it.
she sends the
Yeah.
bill directly
Yeah.
to the town.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
if she
better.
has expenses, just make sure I know that it's for her.
Okay.
Perfect.
The only reason I do the other ones, Meg, is because it's much easier to do it by a credit card.
Yeah.
And I
Well,
don't
and that's
want-
how we actually do that for our
Yeah.
own
'Cause
education.
I don't want to have anything to do with a town credit card. The next line item is something new. It's public outreach. We've been able to, so our MS4 permit, which is a 5-year permit, we have to send in for an audit every year. We have to send that permit in. And one of the requirements of our MS4 permit is we have to have minimum of 2 public outreach. For lack of a better term, I'm going to call them sessions. What we've been doing is I've been able to get material from the EPA and through FEMA that I was able to hand out. We haven't really had any printing costs. Colleen designed a couple of flyers for our stormwater program. We just print them at the office. What I'm concerned about is it's a requirement, and if we don't do it, we'll get dinged on our permit. I'm concerned that we may end up at some point in time having some printing costs that we're going to have to handle. And I really don't have a very good handle on it. Some of the stuff that I've gotten through the EPA and FEMA has been fantastic. They're heavy booklets. I don't know that I'd go that far, but we will have some.
Larry, I think in the future, if you just want to have either yourself or Colleen send it over to us, and between Kayla and the staff, we can get it printed in-house for you.
Sure.
You know, we can take care of it. So,
It's your own, right? I would agree.
And the public outreach, that is not for, just to make sure everybody understands, that's not from what we did, what Colleen and I did. That would be for paying either Kayla or somebody to design and develop and print some type of information that we have to hand out. And what we've done is we do it at the ice cream social, and we do it at the trunk or treat. And we put stuff out there. One year, I think Reggie came in a water drop costume.
Is that anything that you could put in the newsletter that would count as? public
Kayla did
outreach?
put it, I think Kayla put it in our newsletter last year, before whatever one you guys did, Mark. I think it was just before the trunk or treat. She had put that thing that we developed at our office into the newsletter. And it may be as simple as that. I just didn't want to give you guys any surprises. Next up is the MS4 coordinator and the floodplain manager. I've never, and Meg, I guess I would ask you, I don't know if you allot any of the time that I send to you to those or not.
No, and I think I probably need to. So, is there any way
I can
that
separate
you
it.
could separate? I know that's a little more work for you,
No, that's okay.
but that's
I can
probably the
separate it.
best and the correct way to go about it. So then, yes, I can expense some of that here.
Okay.
Mhm.
Education and certification. I actually went over that earlier. And if we leave the 1,500 in the building department, we could probably take this down. I won't need any certification. I will need certification in 2027. And we could probably drop that to 1,000 instead of 2,000. And dues and subscriptions, we could probably drop that to 1,000 too. I don't think they're really, I don't know that you could look, Meg, but I don't think we've charged anything to that in the last few years.
No, we really haven't, but I think Mark and I can get together and kind of reach out to you more as well. Larry, do you have any ballpark of what your floodplain work hour-wise, or even like for the first half of this year? And it's okay if you don't.
Well, I could go through I have a standard diary that I put all my time in every day. I could go back and give you some estimate of that. Really, all the sand maintenance that's going on now, and when I spend a lot of time now walking the beach with the different contractors,
Mhm.
and that really is MS4 work. It's really not building commission work. I mean, I guess it is building commission work because we come to the building commission with it, but it's to maintain the floodplain and the MS4 situations with erosion. So I think it's probably chargeable there too.
Mhm, mhm.
I think I just didn't realize from last year that this is sitting here and part of your, what we pay
I mean,
you. So
and I guess I would ask you and Trista if there's some advantage, I can be, even for this year, I can go back through and I can look at what I did and say, okay, this should be, if you want to do it for this year.
For 2026, that would be helpful.
Okay,
Mhm. Because that saves money then out of our general fund, when instead we have a stormwater fee that is designed to cover this exact cost.
okay.
So if it's not too much trouble to get that
No, I
sorted.
can do that. Would it be all right if I just went through and then I totaled up through June, how many
Through
hours?
June
were
30.
floodplain?
Mhm.
Yeah, I can
Yep.
do that.
Because then Meg can do a adjustment in just a big lump.
Okay. That's it.
So Meg and Mark, I don't know if you've heard, received maybe some emails from downstate about House Enrolled Act 1001 and Larry, maybe you have too from your contacts, relates to planning and building, permit fees, zoning, everything that a typical planning and building department would encompass. Effective as of January 1, 27, all, and I'm just going to say building related fees to encompass the entire thing. All building related fees need to go into a special fund. They've now, the state board just, Monday or Friday, released their directive on what the fund number is supposed to be. High level comments for today are that building fees are to cover and be used for only the expenses of the planning and building department. The new fund is created now to make sure that they're all receipted there. And even though they've used the word reimbursement in the statute, which is a mistake grammatically, they have now decided the expenses are supposed to be from that fund also. For today's purpose, I looked back at 2025's building revenues. They were, I'm going to say, about 270,000. Your expenses that we've talked about today so far are about 230,000. We do need to go back and evaluate. We need to go back and confirm that the current planning and building fees cover the expenses that you have and that you're not charging too much, which you're not. And then also that the full expenses are considered in your list of expenses, meaning for today, I'll say there's a percentage of the building NIPSCO bill that is used by the planning and building department. Different things like that, expenses that really should be allotted for as well. So there's a plan structure that I can talk about with you outside of today's meeting because it's rather lengthy. Then two more things on this quickly. Fees can only be reset or increased every 5 years in conjunction with the national CPI, unless they did say, however, after a public hearing, when it's demonstrated that costs have increased, so fees need to be increased, then you can do it. So they first tried to handcuff you to 5 years, but they do have an exception to that, which is reasonable, and that's fine. The other part of all of this is there's now 3 different reports that have to be completed. I'll get into the details of them later and how the timing works, but you really can't have a report due on January 1st of 2027 that accounts for all of the 2026 information. I won't go on my soapbox yet today on that. You can imagine that I have one. So one report talks simply about housing statistics in your town, basically. Another report talks about then median home sale prices and different things. The first report, though, you also have to list out the variety of stages, quantity of each permit process. So applications, approvals, inspections, occupancy. So we're going to have to keep track. I think iWork will probably have something to help with this statistical gathering. The third report then requires a public hearing on a UDO, which I'm not even sure if you have a town unified development ordinance.
I can't answer that fully.
Yeah. So we're gonna have to look into that. And the requirement of this third report is a single time requirement right now that you have to hold a public hearing. There's 9 factors that go through on affordable housing type things. And should you then have recommendations based on those factors to amend a UDO? And if so, what are those going to be? And again, you submit that report downstate. So
What is UDO?
Unified Development Ordinance.
Is
So
that-
downstate, there's a lot of this affordable housing concern, as well as I think some building contractors that are saying, well, house prices are too high because towns and cities are charging us way too high permit fees. So we have to pass that on. I've said enough for today. So there will be some work we need to do to get ready for all of this. Point being, your actual expenses will no longer be in the general fund for next year. It's not going to change what you've estimated at all because those are your costs and expenses. But there might be a few more that we need to add to appropriately cover all of the expenses that you have. As well as gas, for example. I don't see that here. I know that you don't just stand in the middle of town and just use binoculars. And so I think there will be some additional things to consider to make sure that the expenses fully reflect everything that is
I could start
incorporated.
charging my car at Mark's house.
But yes,
Right.
way down.
But I think to Trista's point, it's a great point, like building maintenance, toiletries, office supplies, our liability insurance, property insurance for this building, all those things need to shift into the building department because it is one of the departments like our street and water and police department. So those are shared expenses that need to come over to the building department because we all know gas and electric is one of our largest expenses and we don't bill the building department for any of that right now. So, and they hold meetings here. They have office staff that work in the building as well. So
All not a problem until we have to do this. Effective Jan 1.
Mhm.
yeah,
We
Look out.
are, which I could provide for you. Every month I do a report for my works, number of permits, value of permits, fees generated. I don't send that to Meg. I certainly can, but it's how I generate my information every month. And it's pretty sophisticated. I can build a report. We can add more things. So,
Great.
maybe if
So we'll sit down and look at what you've got. We'll look at the statute on what's required and get a plan.
we do have what's called a PUD or a planned urban development ordinance. I'm not sure if that's going to fit, but we can take a look at that. I'll
We'll
talk to
look.
Chris.
Mhm.
And I certainly understand exactly what you've been talking about. We are so, we're dense enough now where we don't really have, there's
New
no
ones.
more PUDs, no more planned urban
Right.
developments that can happen here. Our biggest exposure is Hacienda. If that were to, they were to tear all that down, that's.
Yeah.
But we do have an ordinance and I can send that to you. Or I should say, we'll talk about it and then we can
Yeah,
get
well-
with Chris and figure out if if that would fall under what's necessary.
Yeah. Maybe in August, we can set a couple hours aside one afternoon. We'll make sure Chris can attend, have the statute points, pulled together, and then come up with our attack plan and have several months then to get everything in place and get it organized. And not only budget related, but the rest of this as well. Yay.
Parking lot is.
Oh,
The actual
okay.
building and
Parking
half of the
is-
lot is.
Okay.
Larry, I was just going to add that iWorks seems to have many, what's the right word? Areas that if you populate them, then you can have more information. So we'll just look at what
I can send you, I'll send it to you today. I'll
a lot of
send
it's
you.
manual. So as long as we know that we need to populate something,
Yes.
then we can pull the,
It's really, it takes the amount of time that I used to have to prepare for a meeting compared to what I have to do now. It's pretty slick. And I can send you what we can populate from. And then when we meet in August, you can say, well, we need something else. And then we'll just have iWorks add it.
Nice.
They've been pretty good. So, and then that way, we can populate that report by week, month, the year, annually, quarterly,
Good.
whatever they need. And we've been fortunate that iWork system has worked well for us.
Thanks.
Okay.
Awesome.
Thank you, Larry.
All right.
Nice job.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Commissioner.
coming.
Looking forward to tomorrow.
Bye, Lair.
So streets is not coming today, right?
Mark is going to do Tom's. He texted
Mark
me.
soon. And then PD, and then you, and then Parks is later.
Paul was leaving yesterday to go out of town.
Yeah.
So I think either we will do a call with him, you and I,
Oh, sure. And
or
report back.
yeah, if you happen to be coming. He does also want to discuss funding for this big parks project. So, and ideas and possibilities, and he's going to have more concrete information, I believe, about what this phase one will cost. I know they're working on donation activity and things like that. So,
And I know this is in my filing cabinet, and I'm embarrassed to have to ask this, but filing cabinet in my head, I mean, still a park board, right? You have not gone to a park committee.
correct.
Okay.
Yep. Always the same that it's been for many years
Yeah, okay.
with an ordinance and.
Which relates to a funding question, which is why I was verifying. Okay.
Okay.
All right, Mark and Meg, whoever's next then, right? Streets, PD and clerk.
Yeah, I mean, we can jump into streets. I had the opportunity this week to meet with Superintendent Tom Dolph, went over his budget with him pretty much on the line items that he has now. We're not looking at changing anything on there. One of there's 6 concerns that he brought up, and I'll start.
Okay, Mark, wait, pause one moment.
Now, hold on.
Yep.
I'm trying to find streets.
Motor vehicle highway funds,
You're on page
Excel, or legal size.
page 2 of legal.
All right.
Yeah.
Before it starts. Thank you.
I just stare at what Colleen's doing.
Okay. Thanks, Mark. Sorry.
No problem. So, one is our road salt supply. We've been notified that LaPorte County, the entire district, will not be a part of the state's QPA on road salt this year for treated road salt. So we're now forced to find our own vendor for road salt. So I've got 5 requests for quotes out currently. I just don't know, and I won't know. I heard back from Morton Salt this week that not to expect a quote from them till sometime in late August. So that's one of the areas that we may want to bump up some, because we were paying about $89 a ton, and annually we could use as much as 700 to 1,200 tons a year. So we may be paying as high as 120 or more per ton, possibly. So-
How many tons per year do you?
On the high end, 1,200 ton.
Okay.
And we used to pay $89 a ton. And now we could pay as high as 120 or more a ton, unless one of these quotes come in well under that. But that's kind of what I've been hearing from some of the people that work in this industry, is that it's going to be well over $100 a ton. And so, yeah, it could be.
Talked about this with Trail Creek last week or the week before.
Mhm.
It didn't strike me then, but it just blew me in the face now. Why isn't the county collectively, maybe starting with county leadership or your leadership, maybe more effectively, getting everybody together for a bulk quote? Because Trail Creek's getting a quote, you're getting 5 quotes.
So we have this week Superintendent Baker from Trail Creek, myself, the Michigan City Superintendent. We've been in email communication.
Awesome.
All of us have been sharing the information that we're all working on. All of the bulk suppliers that are out there know that each of us here in LaPorte County are looking for salt. So they're taking that into consideration when they give us our bulk pricing. For instance, there is one vendor who has a distribution salt site in Burns Harbor that I'm hoping is going to come in fairly low since they're so close to us. And then Mid-American and Indiana Salt Supply are two of the other vendors that I've reached out to through email asking for quotes. But as we build the budget, when Tom and I spoke about this, we just think that maybe we need to bump that up by probably at least $10,000 or more, because we just don't know. And then the other thing is our new salt facility, storage facility will be completed sometime in September. We'll be going from 200 ton to a capacity of holding 400 ton. So the goal is to load that up with salt as well. So yeah, last year was a tough winter. We went through a lot of salt. The year before, when you look at it, we didn't spend as much on salt. And we don't know what we're going to be doing in 27, obviously. So other than paying more for it.
We still have the contract with Michiana Shores.
We have that MOU with them that we do supply them road salt. Yes.
So they know that's going to increase too.
They will know. I meet with them next Tuesday. So yeah. But yeah, because once we get our new salt pricing per ton, we were last charging them $450 a truckload. I could see that probably going up well over, $550 a truckload probably. So once we get our new per ton pricing in that.
And
So.
I don't think you charge them to make profit. It's
No.
simply to cover the cost.
Yeah.
Of it.
Yeah, because they take a couple ton at a time, and then, it's a little bit on our loader and staff to load it, very minimal.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's one of the 6 items. So if we can look at increasing the salt, I know we have it in 2 different line items in the budget. There's 2 different areas that we have it. So, so just look at that. Repairs, Tom was asking that maybe we increase that some because we have been doing more repairs in-house. So that's an area that maybe we could increase a little bit.
So repair parts and repair of equipment. Is that what we're thinking? The 220 and 222? Or do you mean nothing in those capital lines, right? Yeah.
Yeah, no, nothing in
Okay.
capital, just in his general budget. Maybe bump it up by 1,000.
Yeah, out of 6,500 for this year, we're at 3,300.
Yeah. And usually what happens is when we get into the fall, the maintenance on the leaf vacs and then the snow plows, typically that's when we spend more money on repairs. Those are large items that we repair. So the third item was stormwater fund. Before the council, there's going to be some discussion of increasing the stormwater fund. And I'll give you a little bit of supporting information on that. Currently, we charge residents, homeowners, $15 per month that goes into that revenue fund for stormwater improvements. Just yesterday, the town's team had a meeting with Haas Engineering relative to the CCMG grant application. We'll be bringing information forward to the town council that we just found out yesterday as part of the CCMG paving project for Lakeshore Drive. Part of their recommendation is going to be putting in some curbs and gutters along the edge of the roadway in the 15 and 1600 block of Lakeshore Drive. Because it is so flat through there, currently we're not able to move the stormwater. It sits and it puddles in a lot of areas. So they're recommending to pitch the roadway some. And then when they pitch the roadway, they want the curbs and the gutter, which will be the installation of concrete curbs and gutters that'll then channel the water to catch basins that'll then go into our stormwater infrastructure. That explanation we received yesterday could bring about an additional $300,000 for just phase 1 of Lakeshore Drive's paving project because of the additional stormwater work that needs to be done. I sent an email recently, I think I included you as well, Trista, about increasing that fund from $15 to maybe $20 a month. By doing that, it would only bring in an additional $74,000 a year. It's not much when we look at a typical catch basin. is costing us anywhere from $10,000 to $15,000 when we have to go in and put one in or do some repairs. So we're just looking at, we need to take some serious discussion and consideration on the amount of revenue coming in there, that we do need to increase it. I will tell you, the month of June, the town received a ton of calls relative to stormwater concerns across the town. In fact, one resident stressed to me, this is the town's responsibility. You need to take care of this puddling water at the end of my driveway, and when's it going to be done? Well, to answer that question, it's probably going to cost more for the residents because we just don't have the money to do every single stormwater concern that's out there. So we've got to give some serious discussion about increasing that fund. So, and I don't even know if 20 is going to get it. You know, we may have to bump it up a little bit more, you know, with the paving we want to do and our dry wells. I'll use, for example, on Indianapolis at Hidden Hills. Indianapolis and Hidden Hills, I talked to Tom about the large amount of puddling that's going on there. That dry well that's in there, that was an engineering mistake probably 10 or 15 years ago. It's not big enough. That dry well is undersized. We need to add another dry well there. And to do that is tens of thousands of dollars just at that one location. So we had residents calling last week asking, you know, when are we going to go back and suck the water out of the roadway because it's still standing there days after a heavy rain. And what we've been doing is taking the vac truck, vacuuming out that dry well, putting it into the vac truck, and then we're going up the road to another dry well and dumping it into that dry well system. So it's just, that's the type of examples that we're facing with some of our stormwater. And we did have a lot of rain in June. We had well over 10 inches of rain. So stormwater fund, again, it'll have to be a council decision down the road, but Tom is recommending, and I do support his recommendation, that we probably need to look at increasing that. Leaf collection, what we have in the leaf collection budget line items, we may want to look at increasing that some because we foresee the fall leaf collection probably going up from our vendor, and that, you know, we were paying $50,000. We might want to increase that by probably $5,000 because the cost of their staff, their fuel and stuff like that, I could see that going up. We don't have a price from them, but I think we need to build something in because we haven't seen a price increase in probably the last eight years.
That's an annual contract with them?
It is.
Because
Yep.
we looked at that when we were increasing the leaf rate,
Mhm.
the garbage leaf rate. And so I was just trying to recall
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
long the contract was.
Yeah, every year we renew it, and this year we haven't received it. We will probably about September, but they haven't increased it in the last 8 years, and I could foresee a couple $1,000 increase on that. So,
Well, and it was,
and also the company that hauls away our leaves to compost sites, they've increased already this year. They're pricing us just because of the trucking cost with fuel cost. Their diesel fuel cost went up. They take semi-loads of leaves out of our holding facility to composting, and they've already increased by a little bit this year. So yeah. The fifth item he had was just overall salary increase for his staff. I told him that that'll be talked about with the council and the HR committee. He's just asking on behalf of their employees, as all the employees are, that, you know, cost of living obviously has gone up, and employees are just respectfully asking for any consideration. I told him I would bring it up. And then lastly is trees. We've been budgeting $50,000 a year for tree maintenance. Meg and I work exceptionally well on that, trying to stay in that ballpark. But this year, we've already seen quite a few trees that have unexpectedly just fallen. They're more expensive to remove. We're spending, you know, $3,000-$4,000 a tree just to have them taken away. We've already got a couple large oaks that'll need to be removed this fall. So for next year's tree budget, we may want to look at increasing that or adding, you know, at least $10,000 to that. Some years, I know in the past, we've had up to like $75,000 we budgeted for trees, but maybe next year we budget $60,000 for trees. So, yeah, that was it then that he had for the budget. The salt and the trees were and the stormwater were the three main concerns that he had. Otherwise, he's going to try and stay within his budget. So, and they have done a good job. So,
Well, and we, just to touch upon for this year real quick, we did end up including Marsh Court in the capital plan. So if you guys want to do that,
what'd you put in for that? How much?
had it open.
80,000? I can look.
I mean, we've got
Got
a,
it right here, paving of Marsh Court, stop 29, 80,000.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
the goal there is, Tom, I just talked to him last week about Marsh Court. So we need to get into Marsh Court. We need to vac out the dry well that's there. We're probably going to have to replace that dry well and then start getting some cost estimates for redoing that roadway. And then that'll give us a better idea. So we'll work on that.
Maybe next year at the time, since we're missing.
Oh, we'd
summer.
like to pave it yet this year, maybe like a September, October type project, before the asphalt, companies close up for the year.
Uh-huh.
Because that was a very difficult alleyway to plow this last year. And I just drove it this past week and it's in pretty bad shape. So yeah, we'd like to get that done, but we'll get some pricing and keep everybody updated on that. Obviously, it'll go before the council for final approval before moving forward with the work, but we'll start working on getting some cost estimates on it. And that's it for streets.
Do you want a break or do you want to keep going?
Good. Yeah, we'll keep going.
Okay.
On, what did I do with it? On the police side, we're pretty easy. So, I don't have any recommended changes on our budget for next year, other than, on the capital. Oh, capital.
This is page 4 of the smaller packet,
Colleen.
not legal size.
Colleen, hold on.
1101.520.
Yeah, I went legal.
For the police department, I'll start with the capital. Next year in 2027 capital, the 2024 Durango that we have, the lease will be up on that in March. So we'll have to make a decision with the council in March of either purchasing that lease remaining balance out or returning the Durango and looking at a different vehicle. Right now, we have 34,000 budgeted for that. But we're going to see what LaPorte Chrysler will do on the buyout. So we'll get back to you on that one. Then we have another Durango annual payment on a loan that's built in there for $11,378.36. We have $70,000 built in for a new police car for Deputy Matthew Vopat next year. And then the body cameras, $10,200. We've got that built in for the next 4 years. And then our license plate readers, those are our 4 cameras across the town at $3,000 a camera. That's built in at $12,000 a year as well. Aside from that, I don't have any other capital than what's already on our capital. We have a grant application that's out with Congressman Mervan's office for $65,000 for additional portable radio replacement. There is no matching fund requirement for that grant. But otherwise, the rest of our equipment, we're in pretty good shape. So.
On those cameras, is that for new?
No, these are the existing ones that we have. The annual contract for those payment and storage of the video. So storage of video and our overall contract with them. So
Tasers aren't on a replacement contract. You're just purchasing.
tasers, I take out of our equipment fund. I have one left on a lease to buy right now, one more payment next spring. I will be looking at adding another taser, but I plan on taking that out of our annual equipment fund. So the cost of a taser? Yeah. It's a good question. They keep increasing. Right now they're probably $4,000 to $5,500. So,
Technology, we shouldn't go with that.
yeah. You can purchase a handgun for $450 and a taser is $4,000 to $5,500. I could buy 10 handguns for the price of one taser. So, yeah. Axon has the market on taser. I should have bought stock in that company 20 years ago. So, but yeah, other than that, our budget, like next year, I got a couple bulletproof vests that need to be replaced for staff. I'll just take that out of our clothing next year, and or equipment. And the one concern I'm sorry,
What's the best?
bulletproof vests are about $1,500 each. The one question I had, Trista, is, there's that ever looming lit question that's out there. And probably one of our biggest concerns on the lit is, as you know, we've got police salaries, primarily mine, built into lit. And I just know that if that lit ever goes away, that's a big number we're going to have to tackle someday.
Yeah.
So,
And originally, last year we would be talking, the plan was to talk this year about phasing that out
mhm,
and making our adjustments. Well, they've delayed then the vote on the income tax. So you'll still collect it now for another year. It doesn't mean we shouldn't start planning for it for sure.
right.
But they pushed out a year later. Of course, there's no fall session, so we'll get no indication on whether they're going to make any changes to it until the springtime. And then we may not even know, until the end of the session hits.
Right.
But yeah, it's not off the radar for sure.
Yeah.
There still needs to be conversation with the county, and
Mhm.
we'll have to talk maybe on what the status of that is and what the town council's plan is to talk with the county about getting what you need into the request.
Yeah. I mean, just like this week, I heard on local news, state of Indiana is proposing eliminating all property tax. I'm sure you've heard this, and coming up with a new 7% services tax that would go in effect other than medical, dental, things of that nature. And then that would replace all property taxes. I don't see any way that would make the difference up. And here we go again. They're changing our entire outlay for property taxes.
I think there are two states that don't have property tax. I could be mistaken about that, but I think it's two. I'm pretty sure one is Florida. Well, their tourism industry,
Mhm.
and I believe that there's some taxes involved with that.
Right.
There is a valid replacement, and I don't know how the whole system works for them because I don't know if the Panhandle is as visited as, Central. But anyway, we don't have that kind of industry for sure. Fair Oaks Farms gets some tourists and the beach, but not a tax replacement level of.
No. The only thing I didn't bring up on police department is our contracts are up with our other two communities. I've already spoken to both of them about, we'll have to start discussions this fall, looking at those. If anything, there would be slight increases, and one of them probably next to nothing, because we've had, minimal issues in the one community. But I just want to let you know that we have started discussions with them this fall. The council will start to probably see some contract renewals maybe in like December, because I think the contracts are up in February. But I would just maybe put that revenue in as same as what you have this year. And then if there is any increase, it would be slight in 2027, starting in like March. So, but other than that, big ticket items, any contracts, things of that nature, we've pretty much discussed this morning. So. And then the police donation fund, I would keep the same. If you could hold that 10,000 in there for supplies and other supplies annually. I know we have a pretty good remaining balance in there, but I do use that 10,000 for community outreach, purchasing items that we hand out, like the ice cream social and different things like that. So it's nice to have that available. That helps throughout the year.
Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Otherwise, keep most things steady.
Yep.
Okay, very good. I guess I can look at the fire and the public safety. I think, yeah, it'll kind of just be assessing where we're at, and I think we're mostly okay. Insurance looks like we're going to overspend for public safety, but I'll look at how I budgeted that.
Don't forget on fire too, there's that new law that went into effect. I think it affects, I think that clothing affects us by about $10,000, where we've got to give them an additional $300 per member. I want to, yeah, so we'll need to, if we have 30 members, 3,000, 9,000, so probably an additional $10,000 is going to need to go in there.
Well, and
That took
Blake-
effect this July 1st.
Okay. The fire department had sent me their sort of break even
Breakdown. Yeah.
of their expenses. Give me one moment.
Yeah, other than that, Meg, for that public safety building, the only thing I can think of is, like the maintenance, HVAC concerns, the NIPSCO bills. Those are the big ticket items over there.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
we're a little over on the public safety other charges.
Right.
Supplies, well, yeah.
Is it going well
insurance.
with controlling NIPSCO expense, the lights and the air temperature and all that?
It's, yeah,
yeah.
we have a handle on it, and I think there's always sometimes slip ups where
Yeah.
that we find and figuring out. I think the tenants at the community center have been doing a nice job. I think the ever looming discussion is, do we cage these thermostats and better control it even? So,
Just like yesterday, the community center met and the hallway temperatures for the air is at 75. We voted yesterday to bump it up to 77 and just to keep the utility costs down some, so, I mean, nobody's going to die at 77 in the hallways. So, and the same thing here, we've been doing a great job in all of these buildings. Every once in a while, there's an outlier that kicks the air conditioning down in the public safety building and then they forget to turn it back up and I catch it. But we're doing a good job on it.
so just real quick, fire department was short $2,300 from their clothing allowance. Sorry, not their clothing allowance, from the contract for their expenses. But then I also sent Blake back what the town spent on equipment repairs. Everything falls outside of their contract. So I believe I think the town is in a good place and the fire is in a good place for the overall right now.
Good.
So keeping in mind that as that one truck ages, some of their repairs they can be a few $1,000s. So I'm going to look at those kinds of items to see what we need. Okay. Are we on to do you want to do town admin first, or do you want me to do clerk
No, we can go with town admin.
first?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I will clearly be working on the gas, electric, NIPSCO and health insurance and the town policies. But you can go ahead, Mark, if you.
Trista, I think it's important that if we can hold that town admin line, which was like 75 this year.
Yeah,
Um,
I put that in as well. I think Trista, it was the one that advised to go from 50 to 75.
Yeah.
Currently, we've spent 21,000 out of there, which was one or two projects. There was also an insurance deductible that was unexpected. So,
We're on page 3.
we're on page 2 now. Sorry about
Page
that.
2, no, that's right.
And then after this, we'll go to page 1 and then we're
General fund, little pages.
pages. So flip it over just to the back. So this is the 1101.511 expense lines.
I know. Next year.
It's pretty obvious, but.
Um, So I think the big lines, clearly the insurance. I think the legal is okay, what we have it at with 50.
The healthcare cost is kind of concerning me for next year because that's always that unknown and we don't find out till the fall. I want to say, what'd you guys budget last year? Like 10, 11% increase, something like that?
Mm-hmm. Budgeted 12, I
I,
think.
12. Yeah, we may want to do about the same again. So, and if we come in well under, great. But otherwise, I would definitely go
I think
high.
we ended up, Mark, we did change policies, not policy, but the choice that we went with. And I think we ended up at about 8%, right?
Yeah.
Instead of the 12. So still an increase, but now we did have with employee changes,
Quite
there
a
will
few.
be some insurance costs, just changes from single employee, to family or employee plus child or employee plus spouse. So, the insurance will look, it is going to increase inherently just from our employee changes.
And just really quick, the budget columns may look a little wonky because for a long time, all the health insurance was just paid from this administration fund. And we talked for 2026 about dividing that cost out to each department. And so there is a holding spot number right now for 27, but the intention is that each department will have its allotted expense in it. And that will get better organized for you for the next meeting.
And then Mark, I think we're okay, but as long as you do for building maintenance, keeping it at 35 again.
Yeah, I think we're good there. The building and fixed equipment where we have that 20,000,
Mm-hmm.
you aren't using any of that for capital or anything, right?
I will look in there.
No,
Are you able to, Trista? Just
not the
to
plan to do, but
inquiry? Yeah, I don't think well, it is a capital line item. And we do use,
The only
well,
reason
we put the general fund capital, we're trying to keep it at 0, but
I'm asking is like that 20,000, we could use some of that because we're talking about replacing carpeting in the clerk and water's office, clerk treasurer's office, our sergeant's office. The carpeting in the building's like 20 some years plus. We did this room last year, so we're just trying to catch up and get some of the improvements done where we could, pull some of that from there. So,
it's not included in our capital.
okay. And that's good. That'll, as long as
So,
if it stays at that number next year, that'll help us finish some of these projects.
yeah, this year you spent some money at Lowe's, $1,400 so far.
Drinking fountain. Yeah.
Mhm.
yeah, so that's confusing and something to remember that it's a capital line, but it's really treated more as operational.
Okay. Now, I just think on that town admin side, just the insurances and the utilities and that would be the only areas to really take a look at. Everything else in there, we've been doing well with.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Okay, and then onto the clerk, which is that first page.
I know, I just thought of, I saw my note, fuel, maybe just looking at our unleaded and diesel costs across the board for all departments. If we're going to bump any of that up, because I know we were paying more for fuel earlier in the year when the, Iran war first started. Fuel's come down a little bit, but maybe for next year, still some unknowns out there. We might want to just look at fuel for the whole town to see if we need to bring it up a couple grand. So,
Well, and the gas tax suspension holiday won't be forever, so.
yeah. So,
Well, and Trista, are they gonna give us a reimbursement, it sounded like, right? For what we would have received at this point?
Yeah, so I do think that, and I didn't look at your revenue for June. I think I did look at your revenue for June. It has been held steady. The DLGF releases around budget time here coming up end of July into August, what the MVH and LRS expected revenues will be, meaning the gas tax revenues that you get for those for the next year, so people can plan their budgets on it. It is based on a 12, either the lowest, either a 12-month average prior year or 36-month average. When Governor first suspended the tax, everyone kind of panicked and thought that the revenue would immediately start to reduce. However, the more I thought about it and then double checked a couple things, I do think it's the calendar year prior. Now, I guess the only possibility would be if it's the state fiscal calendar, which would run July to June, but they can't affect all the local units' budgets then differently than what they had first said the average would be. So I think maybe you did not receive your May supplemental. Every May, there's usually kind of a true up, if you will. And it's typically about 10% of what your annual receipt would be, which is pretty close to a single monthly receipt. But I think that your monthly have stayed level and consistent. And he suspended this tax back in April already. So if it was an immediate effect, you would have already felt it in your June revenue. And I don't think that you did. So getting back to your question, I think that the effect we would feel would be as we come to see the prediction for next year in 27, will it drop? And then recently they released some information, which is what Meg's referring to, of he's directed the state budget, the state finance authority to refurbish everyone's revenues that they lost, because he finally was understanding the trickle-down effect that this all has on your roads, on the contractors who are hired to do the roads with the gas tax on and on. So if you did not receive a May supplement, I think that you would be getting that shortly. Now I think we're not set to meet till July 21st. So it would come shortly after that. And then hopefully some kind of statement about what we can expect next year's revenue to be. Will they be supplementing that to keep you at some kind of levelized normal amount, or will it drop? Kind of a long about answer to your question, but that's what we've received info on so far.
This is totally separate, but has there been any more discussion on what they're doing with the 2% property tax?
It's already set for
That
incremental
tiered.
increase every year. That's already built in. Now, if they go back to take it back out, but that's already set. This next year will be up to 12% deduction.
So
It's-
how you and I will just start looking at that to account for, because
Yep.
that's
I have a little bit of information now when we're done about the current effect for this year, now that you've gotten your tax draw to confirm what happened from SEA 1. And then I want to run a number to predict for next year as part of the revenues of the increase to the 12 and what that's going to do. So we can talk about that a little bit more in a couple minutes.
Trista, unrelated topic, was your office surprised that they did the levy increase by 10%? I mean, that seemed kind of odd. I thought maybe with everything.
6%, right? The max, you're talking the max growth?
Yeah, I thought it was 10% for next year.
Oh, I
Was it-
think I saw 6, but we
I
can
thought I
double check.
saw, maybe it was.
I was shocked at that.
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked that it was like anything higher than 5.
Yeah,
So,
statutorily, they had frozen it at 4, even though the factors that they use state economy wise could have allowed it to be a little bit higher. They had frozen
Right.
it. Well, I think what happened was they forgot that the statute was already set out through like this next year. They forgot that the freeze was only effective for a single year. They forgot to refreeze it, I think is what happened.
mhm.
So yeah, I'm totally shocked at the 6% because that totally goes against everything to increase your max levy means you're increasing property tax to get to that amount.
Right.
So to increase that by 2% more is huge for a lot of places. I don't think the governor's going to like it when he realizes what happened.
That's why I was
But-
curious how that's going to affect us. So,
No, like legislation's done now. They can't affect it, I wouldn't think, for next year because they're
right.
not in session yet until January. There has been some talk that in relation to that property tax issue, maybe they're going to try to somehow freeze assessed value growth, which puts a whole new level of complication on it. But again, that won't be till spring session.
Yeah, you're right. The letter from the DLGF is 6%. Yeah. So,
All excited at 10, yes.
yeah, no, I know what I was thinking of something else in 10, but yeah, I'm looking at maximum levy growth from their office is in that letter 6% for next year.
Now,
So-
the issue with that is though, as we are allowed to ask for more property taxes from people, that's going to bump some up closer into the property tax caps.
Hmm.
And so that may increase your circuit breaker. I'll run some numbers on it as we move along here over the next couple of weeks, and so we'll have a better idea of what the numbers are actually going to tell us. But is it good news? Yes, but I'm guarded because of the tax cap issue.
Very good.
Clerk Treasurer, you want to go through before?
Yeah, just real quick. I guess. Are we okay increasing accounting services to 30 with everything looming, or do we want to keep it at 25? That's one of my questions.
And I'll just say really quickly, we try to be so mindful of the fact that you're a small town. Try to use associates to help put some of the, the data worksheet stuff together. Meg has done an amazing job in her tenure of learning and getting up to speed. And so her very first year, of course, there were costs associated with what we know we went through to get fixes done. And then also the audit came, which was very complicated. And so I thought everything would start to drop from our cost for you. And then SCA 1 came. And so again, we really do try to be mindful, Meg and I make sure when I'm here in person that we stay on task and not just, sit and chat and waste time. And yeah, we try to help as best we can, but while being as economically efficient for you.
I think you're both doing a great job, and I appreciate that you try to be economical and stay on task.
Thanks.
And no.
All right, so my salaries are salaries. There's a portion, I actually need to make these payroll changes still, but those, I'll put in. The longevity will actually be 0 with my deputy clerks being brand new. Group insurance, we expect to increase a little. The HSA will increase to the family value of 3,500. Perf will increase a little. I was going to increase the official records because from 1,800 to 2,800 because right now I'm due. Actually, I think last year was larger because I think we had about 12 or 14 ordinances. Probably half of those were resulted from the audit. So maybe I don't need so much there, but that cost is simply, keeping our code updated with American Legal Publishing. So maybe I'll just increase it. I'll decide, but just a little bit of an increase, maybe at least 2,000. Supplies are constant. We talked about accounting. The next 3 stay the same. I'm going to decrease the legal notices from 1,000 to 800. Printing other than office, I'm going to decrease to 1,500. Workman's comp, I'm going to increase to at 12%. It would be 1,400. Computer software seems to, we're actually way over for January, but that's because I already paid our second half of Cassell. So I think we're okay at that 28. We're actually a tiny bit under the last 3 years. So I may even decrease that a tiny bit, but I do want to, one of my next big projects, aside from apparently changing everything we do at the building department, will be getting credit cards and utility billing, which I'm going to be looking into very soon. I've got the contact and I just need to kind of take that on and get it going. So there may be a cost and I'm unsure. I knew I had gotten approval from council for $2,500 for this module, which is just another part of our software to do utility billing. But then the software company came out with this portal. So that's what I've got to look into. Is the module even an option anymore? How much does this portal cost, where residents would probably have their own login? It may be more than we need. So Trista is probably in support of completely changing our accounting system. And I'm still, with what's happened with some of the companies, that's always in my mind. I don't know if I'm quite ready to do it, but I still need to be looking into it, I think. So that's what that line pretty much is all the things we need to operate for our software. And then I'm going to reduce subscriptions and dues to 12,000, and that's all. So any other topics or questions?
Let's make sure we chat quick about the credit card payments. PayGov is free.
Okay. Yeah.
Make sure we talk about the different providers available and
it may be very simple and I think it's just getting it into the software and the bank. So, and I'm sure that both are probably familiar with Pay.gov with their other clients. So, yeah, I do know about that. So thanks. What was I going to say?
Meg, on community center fund
Oh, okay.
on 399 and 440. So on the community center on 399 on miscellaneous, it's at 4,000 now. If you can bump that to 5,000. So
these page numbers last year too.
Okay.
and then
so-
building improvements 440.
Hold on, Mark. We're trying to find a page down here for.
Okay, I'm there. It's page 225.
Long.
2501, so page 1 of the long ones. Page 1 and 2. So miscellaneous from 4 to 5, Mark.
4 to 5. And then 440 building improvements 6 to 8.
Okay.
That's
So
it.
I just need to look at the balance and make sure with our revenue that we can,
If not, then like 6 to 7 or something like that. But
okay.
if either one of
Because
those can just take us, because we're always running those to the last penny.
Mhm.
So,
The revenue's so tight with them.
well, we're going to increase probably next year again by 3 to 5%. So,
That's good news.
yep. In fact, when Anita's done here in a little bit, we've got letters waiting on the desk for Anita to deliver heating and air conditioning.
Okay. Yeah, and we already took, if you recall last year, we removed insurance, I believe, and put it, find where I'm going here. Yeah, so we moved it to the general fund, which should help,
Yeah.
this year. But yeah,
Oh.
it's that gas and electric that's, we budgeted 42,550. We're at 23,248. Let me do a quick.
And I'll just add really quickly, I've got the June financial reports. Tenant rent as of the end of June was up to 49,600, which is great. I mean, that would be an on trend for 100,000 for the year, which is much higher. So I know you increased 426, right?
I mean, we have every space full currently, which is
Okay,
good. So, and then we've been bringing in a little bit of extra revenue, renting out the gym and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
And there's been really people make good donations to
Donations,
that building.
yeah.
So
Okay.
we could maybe look at donations and pull them out and just, is that
Dona-
separate? Do you see
Donations
that?
are at 4,800.
Yeah, so that's
That helps.
$5,000 for the year. That's really nice.
And the Higdons will be sending us a check here probably in the next week or two from last weekend's run.
Okay.
Usually a good 1,000 or more. So
So it
That goes
seems
in the
like,
donation fund, right? The donation line, yeah.
yeah,
And
Mark,
then
you're,
another tenant, so the courtyard, I mean, Susan's adding on that another
Mhm.
courtyard, taking that on.
yep, that's already happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the gas and electric, if I double where we're at in June, it's 46,500. So, depending how the winter goes and the rest of the summer, we'll
Yeah.
see where we end up on that. And
it'll be close.
yeah. Okay. Thanks, Mark.
Yep.
Any other small funds we want to look at while we're together, or are we? I wasn't quite there yet for,
I think maybe the three of us can talk about park
That's fine.
department and that some other time.
yeah, Paul's going to work on it and then either stop in and we could call Trista if we need her.
Yeah, look at it.
And maybe the four of us can get together about, again, their plans and the big project, what they're thinking. So yes, this is good. We got this kicked off and going here, and thanks everybody for the time and effort. And then looking ahead, I guess this kind of is our monthly budget meeting here. In 1 moment. So our next meeting should be the 4th. I think July. Oh, I'm sorry. That's August. Hold on.
Well, and
I guess it's the 7th.
I had notes that are not in front of my eyeballs right now. Were we thinking September, October, or August, September for
I don't have my
actual
notes either, but
council?
I think you originally said September, October.
Okay,
That's what I thought.
okay, good. So we still have all of August to work on it. Okay, great.
okay.
Especially since we're trying to track down some of these quotes and other things.
Oh,
So
she
what's the
actually
next?
pass these down if you want. Sorry, I was looking that up here.
So second Monday, right?
Already in July, so it would
September
be
14.
Tuesday, the 4th at 10 a.m.
Of August
Correct.
at 10.
Correct. August 4th at 10. And the council meeting is the 10th, so that's.
PM.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
So I just passed down, if we can take just a on my little SC1 review. Certainly you all can read, but I wanted to jot a few notes here for you to take along. The assessed value dropped by, which I think we had talked about that already along the way. So assessed value dropped, which normally your growth is 4 to 5 to 6 to 8%. And then each year, of course, your max levy is allowed to grow. And coming into this year, then it was allowed to grow by the $58,700. What you'll see below that then are some notations and breakouts of what the circuit breaker was for 2025. And then now what the new circuit breaker is, as has been released finally at the end of April for 2026, which came in lower than I had anticipated based on the new 2% deduction and the new homestead credit. So the more I looked into it, ultimately your supplemental homestead credit, that extra 10% up to $300 on your tax bills, only cost the town $29,800. It's that second red line. So in one instance, the fact that your half summer homes actually helped you because your supplemental homestead credits were not as high as most other communities were experiencing. Because again, only about half of your properties are actual true homesteads. So that turned out to be a blessing for you. And the more I looked into it, I think the drop in the AV actually helped you as well, despite the fact that normally when your assessed value drops, your tax rate goes up to still get to that max levy. I think the way that the 2% deductions played into this, which do ultimately push them further away from their tax cap, ultimately, I think this first year that ended up kind of helping you. Because there is no other explanation as to why that's the case. I think you ended up in a perfect mathematical storm that, because of all these factors, the AV growth dropped when it normally doesn't, the increase of the 2% deductions, which helped, that's part of the reason the AV was lower. Ultimately, comparing the 2025 net levy, the amount of taxes that you'll receive in after the circuit breaker credits, compared to this 26 that you did receive your first draw 2 weeks back, you're only losing $68.
Were you so excited when you figured this
I
out?
was,
I
and I
love the
still-
exclamation.
I didn't trust it
Only
completely because it
client.
just wasn't making any sense, but the circuit breaker report is pure mathematical list of values, which is where these calculations I've shown to you come from. And so I know that it's correct. The explanations maybe could be up for a little bit of conversation, but these are the only factors that play into all of it. And so I was shocked. It's definitely not the cliff that I was expecting, but it's due to the AV drop that the overall assessment growth did not happen. And then you tack in the other deductions after that. We do know that the LaPorte assessor made some decisions on how they made their assessments, which we were surprised at. And so I guess you got the benefit of that for this first year.
Just met the assessor at the ice cream social. He was with Judge Bergerson.
Oh, yeah, he was, wasn't he?
Mike.
So and countywide, the assessments are on a 4-year cycle. There's a region that's assessed each year. I don't know, although we could find out where Long Beach falls in that. It could be that this was your year and that this is how it's going to stay for the next 3, or we can find out, I think, if we need to do that.
But that tier of the 2% didn't, it sort of started this
No,
year?
it did 6%. They got a
6%.
coming into 27 would be a 12% deduction for them. So that's the
It's gonna
part.
get up to 36 right?
6, 12,
So
then it
what-
actually jumps to 19. Then it goes back to 6% again after that to 25 and 32, 31.
How are we going to, in 4 and 5 years, what are we going to do?
Right.
And need to bake cookies and sell.
Yeah.
cookies and-
Yeah.
Okay.
They're gonna have to change something before it gets there. It's gonna have to.
They're gonna have to. There's no way. There's no way.
Just, I mean, interesting, like these.
We can't cut a
referendums,
third of everything we do.
No.
Like the referendums. there's
Or
over
50% of it.
Over 50 some referendums across the state coming up in November's election, and like Michigan City has one of their area schools and that. I don't think some of them are gonna pass. I think some of these people are gonna go punch no all over needed. But I think because everybody's getting pinched everywhere else, I think they're gonna send a message to the state to say, we don't want these referendums. You, the state government, figure out a way to pay for this stuff. And they're gonna put that burden back on the state. So. It'll be, November will be interesting to see how a lot of referendums shake out.
Okay, we will adjourn then at 11:11.